Ms. Kate Marr.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Kate Marr, and I'm the Executive Director at Community Legal Aid SoCal. We are actually we are the program that is going to be running that eviction diversion program in Compton, so we're very excited about that. I'm a proud legal aid lifer, spending the last 25 plus years working in legal services, and I've seen firsthand how legal aid changes families' lives and improves communities, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit about that with you today. I'm going to focus on what investing in legal aid looks like on the ground, specifically when it comes to homelessness prevention and support for domestic violence survivors. You heard from Judge Tapia about the homelessness crisis in LA County, and we all know it's a huge issue across the state. But the data shows us that more people each year are becoming unhoused than are rehoused. And so what that means is that upstream prevention-focused solutions are critical to solving the homelessness epidemic in California. And civil legal aid is one of the most cost-effective homelessness prevention tools. Preventing homelessness requires addressing a multitude of factors that can lead to it: domestic violence, loss of income or benefits, consumer debt, barriers to employment or housing like criminal records, unsafe or unstable housing, and lack of support navigating social safety net programs. At Community Legal Aid SoCal and at our sister organizations across the state, our approach is proactive and coordinated. We provide legal support across multiple areas and combine it with case management so that families receive the help they need before problems lead to eviction or housing loss. At my organization, housing instability is the top legal issue that clients come to us with. Eviction, illegal rent increases, and unsafe conditions can push a family into homelessness quickly, often before they understand their rights. And as Judge Tapia shared, representation matters, and it is so imbalanced in eviction court. And this imbalance often leads to default judgments, avoidable evictions, and families losing their housing even when defenses or protections exist under California law. And I'm going to repeat this many times: legal aid is homelessness prevention, early intervention, preserving subsidies, enforcing habitability laws, stopping unlawful lockouts and utility shutoffs, and negotiating solutions keeps people housed and reduces downstream public costs. And I'm going to share a story. We had a widowed senior client who received a 60-day eviction notice from her landlord. She suspected that he wanted to raise the rent for a new tenant. Our housing team stepped in, conducted discovery, prepared her defenses, and readied the case for trial. But just days before trial, the landlord dismissed the case entirely because of the work that our housing team had done, and our client was able to remain in her home. These are exactly the kinds of cases that are supported by the state's civil legal aid investments, and why restoring stable funding is so important as the need continues to rise. And we already have evidence here in California that legal aid works to prevent homelessness. Between 2019 and 2024, state-funded homelessness prevention legal services, and that's money that sunsetted and has not been restored, stabilized housing for nearly 200,000 Californians. It prevented 14,500 evictions, recovered $37 million for low-income tenants, and saved $31 million through waived rent and reduced debt. So my background is working with survivors of domestic violence, and we know that domestic violence is a major driver of the homelessness crisis in California. At our organization, approximately 1/3 of our clients report that they have experienced domestic violence. Studies show that as many as 57% of homeless women report domestic violence as the immediate cause of their homelessness, and 80% of unhoused women with children report having experienced domestic violence. Survivors are more likely to be unsheltered, which increases exposure to further violence and trauma. For survivors, unfortunately, the choice is often staying with an abuser or becoming unhoused. But California law provides strong protections. Survivors can stop evictions that are tied to abuse. They can break leases without penalty. They can remove abusers from leases or obtain restraining orders that stabilize housing. But they cannot access those protections without legal help. Civil legal aid helps survivors act fast to get protection, stabilize housing, and keep children connected to school and care. I have another client story for you. We had a mother who fled severe domestic violence with her 4 children, and she reached a confidential shelter, but her abuser was able to track her down, forcing the family to relocate again. Her request for a restraining order was denied initially, leaving them at continued risk and making housing stability even harder. Through our shelter partnership, we helped her appeal and present updated evidence. The court ultimately granted a 3-year restraining order, and it was an essential step towards safety and housing stability. So in closing, I just want to repeat again, legal aid is a proven cost-effective intervention. When the state invests in legal services, we prevent avoidable evictions, help survivors reach safety faster, and reduce the higher costs that otherwise fall on shelters, emergency rooms, courts, and schools. And as you weigh very difficult budget decisions in a difficult budget year, I urge you to restore and sustain civil legal aid funding so that California's safety net works as intended. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you today, and I'm happy to take questions later.